Monkey bread. Why do they call it monkey bread? Because you pick pieces off of it just like a monkey would groom himself. I'm not kidding. I'm not making this stuff up. This is gluten-free monkey bread. It is divine. I'll show you how to make it right now. We'll start by making the sauce because this needs to cool before you put it on your rolls. And this just includes butter, cinnamon, and brown sugar. And I'm really not making that up. I looked it up. Why monkey bread is called monkey bread. It's because, people pick little pieces off of it, just like a monkey would groom himself or herself or another monkey. It's so strange, but that's where it got its name, I guess. So I got this recipe from a coworker back when I was about 21 or 22, basically like a really long time ago. And she used frozen rolls. Well, of course, we can't use frozen rolls because we're gluten free, but I thought the next best thing is my gluten free sweet dough, aka cinnamon roll dough, aka donut dough, aka crazy or magic dough, whatever you want to call it. You might even have some in your fridge right now. So if you do, take it out. This is only half a recipe like I do quite often, and divide it up into 1 ounce pieces. That's what I've done here. Now this part is totally optional, but it is really good and I would not skip it if I were you. I'm putting a piece of cream cheese in the middle of every roll. So what I'm doing is I'm flattening out. I've of course taken my dough out of the fridge. You know how to make this dough by now. If not, go back to several different one of my videos and you can see how it's made. It's so simple, you guys. And if you keep it in your fridge, you will always have something to make. So I'm flattening out these 1 ounce pieces of dough into little rounds. And then I'm dipping cream cheese in butter. So the cream cheese is cold. And then cinnamon and sugar. And I'm putting this on in the middle. Now, this wasn't in the original recipe, but I saw this done on I think it was like Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives or something like that. And this lady made this in her restaurant, and I was totally sold. It was a huge hit. So you just put this on each of the pieces of dough, and now we'll get our pan ready. This is a like 6-cup Bundt pan. It's a little smaller, and mine happens to be silicone, and I'm just spraying it with some nonstick gluten-free spray, and I'm lining the bottom with chopped pecans. You can also use walnuts or hazelnuts, whatever you choose, whatever's your favorite nut. And then we'll want to roll up the dough and encase that filling in there. So I just kind of pinch it with floured fingers and then roll it just like I do any of my other rolls. And then I put it in the pan, one on top of the other, spreading them out. And that's it to setting this up. And once all the rolls are in the pan, you take dry butterscotch cook and serve pudding mix, not the instant, and you sprinkle it all over the rolls. Now, I'm only using half a recipe or half a package of this dry pudding mix because I felt like that's all it needed. It was plenty with the sauce and everything else. But if you want to go ahead and use the full package, that is fine. And this does make a pretty large monkey bread, but if you wanted to go even larger to feed even more people, you could use a 12-cup Bundt pan and then just double all the ingredients, which would include the dough, and the dough would be the entire cinnamon roll dough recipe instead of just half. So now at this point, this can go in the fridge covered overnight, and then you can bake it off the next morning. Or if you want to do it that very day, just put this in a warm spot to let it proof until nearly doubled in size. It depends on your warm spot. Sometimes it could be 30 minutes, sometimes it needs to be longer. And here it is, fully risen, and we're going to bake it at 350 for 30 to 35 minutes or until it looks like this. And the rolls are crusty if you tap them, but if you notice, like, they're not really giving way underneath, which means that the dough is no longer raw underneath and it's fully baked. So I let this sit for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to attempt to flip this over. I have to say, as much as I love silicone pans, they don't I don't have a lot of trust in them not like collapsing on themselves, especially when I'm trying to do something like this. But it'll all work out. Just be careful because everything still is very hot. And just in one motion, just flip it over completely onto your plate or your serving platter, cake stand, whatever you're putting it on. And then when you take off the top, it should slide right out. And yes, it did. Look at this, you guys. Does this not look incredible? I mean, everything's all like gooey and praline like. I don't know how to explain it other than one of my favorite flavors. It's like that brown sugary butterscotchy goodness, and you just pick off a piece. You've got the cream cheese like creaminess in the middle. So good, you guys. I hope you enjoy it. Merry Christmas.